A big thanks to Sennheiser for sponsoring this week's video.
Morning everybody, fantastic to see you all again. So as you can see, Pebbles is back. So I am out in my favourite woodland, scouting for what is definitely one of my favourite times of the year, and that is autumn. And I just thought it'd be useful to bring you along and explain some of the things that I'm looking for maybe a month before the better colours are coming along. And yeah, some of these tips as well aren't just for woodland, they're for vistas as well. So if you're not into shooting woodlands, then stick around because there's lots of tips for you as well. And it is just a peaceful, lovely morning. It's quite overcast, but there's no better place to be in the morning than a woodland like this. Is the Pebs? Come on. I found a scene here that Pebbles is exploring, and this is a beech tree. I think it's a beech tree. It is a beech tree, which will look fantastic sort of late autumn. So yeah, I'm just thinking about this. I'm just going to take a video of where Pebbles is. Do you like it in there, Pebbles? Is it good? I think it's cooler. When she runs around, she always gets really hot, don't you, hey? You get really hot and you just want to cool down because it's so furry. So yeah, so this is a really lovely beech tree, and it's got a really nice shape to it. And this is a good example of something that if I came across in autumn, I'd look at it, it'd look colourful, but it's good to sort of look at this now where I don't have to worry too much about getting a shot. And I've seen already that there's a few issues. So one of the issues is that these roots, although they look nice, I think this mud will just be very dominant in the scene. I think that the canopy is really nice and the tree's really nice, but from where I need to shoot, which is probably there where you are now, there's quite a lot of sky in the image, and I think that'll make it difficult, so it'll have to be quite foggy. So I'll probably note down this is an interesting tee just to maybe just check out as I'm going to another composition. But you know, be aware of this foreground, so I don't spend time messing about. I can just have a quick look and then move on. Pebbles, come up here. You're right. Hey, come here. So you can see that I'm right at the edge of the woodland now, and one of the things that you probably don't realise in woodland photography is the position, location of the sun is really, really important. So here, if I just look at my compass, you know, I know that the sun pretty much rises in the east at this time of the year. I mean, it does change quite a lot over October, so it's worth checking photo pills. But if I look at my compass now, I can see that the sunrise is predominantly going to be from over in that direction, and obviously the sunset is going to be in that direction. The woodland's all in that direction, and then the other edge of it is obviously over there. So I think it's really important to realise that this side of the woodland is probably best at sunrise. And so if I find any trees down here, they're probably not going to be as good to shoot at sunset. So even if it's overcast, foggy, you're still going to get more light in this direction at sunrise than you are at sunset. So yeah, think about that. Think about the direction of the sunlight, because it does make a really big difference. And that'll help you as well when you're in the woodland. So if I go a little bit further in, just thinking, if I find a composition, where's the sunrise going to be? You know, I don't want to shoot in direct light, but that warmth is going to come from a certain direction, and you need to know where that's going to be. Right, Pebs, where are we going now? Let's go up here. Favourite here. Okay, I said I was going to just walk past this tree, but it'd be rude not to take a photo. So I've actually found a slightly different composition, so it was probably a good idea to stop. You can see if I just record in here. Yeah, so you can see that I've usually do this in a landscape composition, but I just thought actually there's not a lot of sky showing through up here, and it's quite interesting, the branches up here. So I've put it in portrait composition, and this fern just at the front looks really good as well. So depending on what the fern condition is, I think this potentially could look okay in autumn in this composition. So it was a good idea to come back and just walk past it again. I mean, I walked past this, probably I've walked past it 200 or 300 times, and I've not seen this portrait composition, which is just from a little bit further back. So yeah, I think it'll work. I've still got this nice branch in here, and yeah, it's well worth doing. Right, on to the next tip, which we'll just walk down here a little bit, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. One of the most important things, I think, oh, you're tired, aren't you, Pebs? Hey? So yeah, one of the most important things I think in autumn is just understanding how things change over time. So this is going to be different all over the world, obviously. We've got these amazing red berries of the rowan tree here, and you know, that coincides a little bit with the very start of autumn, and then we go into the birch trees and their leaves starting to change, which I'm just above a birch tree where my camera is now, and I can see that they're just starting to change. And then there's various of the trees going through to the end of October to the beech trees and then the oak trees. And I think understanding that, like understanding when the ferns might change, they're going to change probably more in different parts of the woodland as well, and just noticing that over the seasons will just definitely improve your appreciation of woodland, but also your ability to find compositions. So think about that. Think about, you know, what is changing in your own woodland, and maybe you can start to look at that now for this season that might help you next season. But yeah, the ferns here are definitely just starting to change, I think, and these berries just look amazing. Where's Pebbles gone? Right. Got to get back up this hill now. So I'm always looking for interesting, characterful trees like this sort of old oak here, and then the environment that tree's set in, and that environment's really important. And you can see that there's some silver birch here. We've got this old oak tree here. And there's quite a nice background as well. So I was originally, when I was walking through the woods, and I've not been to this part of it because it's pretty huge, this woods, before, and I was originally quite attracted to this, and I thought actually this might work quite well. These, you know, ferns will change colour, but one of the problems is that I don't think it's got limbs low enough down, so I'm going to have to get more of the sky in the picture and less of the lower part of the picture, which I think is more interesting. And then the other thing is that there's quite a lot of open ground around me here, and that open ground is quite distracting, I think, as well. So what I'm trying to do is find a characterful tree, something, it doesn't have to be a characterful tree, but that's what I'm on the lookout for today, that's surrounded and in an environment that is conducive to taking a good photo. And I don't think this is quite there yet, although it is pretty nice. The silver birch are definitely changing their colour of their leaves already. By the end of September, they're usually all gone. Well, they're not all gone, but it depends where you are, but a lot of the silver birch leaves will have gone. So it's probably worth noting as I walk through this sort of area here to avoid places that are really messy like this, where there's a lot of debris on the floor. You know, there's lots of spindly branches like this and this one. You know, what you want to try and do is create some sort of order out of the chaos. And you want to keep a little bit of that chaos because that's what the woodland's about. But, you know, this just doesn't quite work. You know, there's a lot There's mess on the floor here. There's lots of branches that sort of don't work together. And then this big tree in the background is the attractive thing, and it'll probably look good and colourful, but I don't think all these other messy branches around it will work. So it's trying to find, as I said before, a scene, something that fits together. It's not easy, but that's half the fun. Come on, Peps. Oh no, Pebbles. Oh, Pebbles has gone in the mud. That's not good. Oh, Pebbles. Well, as you can probably see, I've now got a very muddy dog, not a white one anymore. In fact, I don't know where she's gone. She's gone off in disgrace. But I wanted to talk about this tree. I found this tree here, which is an old wooden dead tree, and you know, there's some nice foliage around it. This tree's quite nice as well, and there's a nice background as well. So I think it's a potential one to come back and just quickly look at in the autumn. I do feel though it's just a bit unconnected, so I feel like this tree might just be just a really nice wooden tree in some other trees rather than, you know, connected a little bit. I feel like it'd be good to shoot it from this direction so I can see the, because I'm end on to wood here, I'd like to be able to see the light just on the old, where the barks come off, but in that direction the woodland's not great. But I'll take a photo, and it may be one to come back to, but I feel like I'm not quite in the right direction, and I thought it'd be worth just explaining that. I'll share the photo.
So I actually like it a lot more than I thought, but I still feel like it's almost like a portrait of this tree, and for that to work, I think the lighting, the leaves around it just need to be perfect. So we'll wait to see what it looks like in autumn.
So this fantastic old tree here is the scene of one of my favourite shots actually, which is called Wise, and it's a good time to show you this because it's a good example of when you're scouting, you just need to open your mind a little bit. So you can see there's a big blanket of fern here, and that at the moment doesn't look great because it's all green, but you change that into multiple colours and suddenly that big area becomes something a little bit more interesting. And also there's an old tree there, and when the ferns died down a little bit, that tree becomes visible. So it's just good to look out for things and think about how things may change. I did spot this in the summer a few years ago, so it's not like a scene that I found in autumn. And then, you know, the background as well is quite a lot of different types of trees. So again, it's going to look really good in autumn because those colours are going to be very different, and we're going to differentiate the different trees behind, which at the moment are sort of a blanket of green. And also, in a bit of fog, it's going to cover any sort of white bits in the background. So I really like this tree. I like the twist in the trunk, which is really nice, which is why I was attracted to it in the first place. Right, let's go and see if we can actually find a new shot. So it's the next day now, and well, first of all, I forgot my hat, and I've also forgotten Pebbles. No, I haven't forgotten her, she's not here. But I've come to slightly different woods, a little bit further away from where I live, but one that I've come to a lot before. A lot of the photos from this woodland are in the book Woodlands. And it is an amazing woods, but I still feel like I've just touched the surface of it. So I've come here to try and find something. I didn't find anything in the woods closer to me, apart from that vertical composition, which I think will work. But I quite like this scene here, and you can see at the moment the light is pretty spectacular. This is a good example of a scene that's good at sunset. So it's sunset at the moment, the sunset's over there, and that golden light's just going to get in here. But sunrise will be over there. It's not going to be a great sunrise location, which is a shame. Not that it's not a sunrise location, but it's a shame because I'd love to shoot this with some fog, and I don't think you get that at sunset too often in the UK. Anyway, I'm going to go and take this whilst the sun's out. I'm ideally looking for just a little, not strong sun, just the sun as it's just coming through a cloud to try and sort of disperse it a little bit and create a more soft light. But yeah, this is beautiful. Just to tell you about the scene a little bit, I've got this main tree here, and then there's a few other trees. There's a really old silver birch there, another silver birch over here. And yeah, what's not to like about this? This is all about character and placement of the trees. Right, let me get the shot before the sun goes, because it looks pretty good at the moment. So I've just come to the edge of the forest just to tell you a little bit about this week's sponsor, and that is Sennheiser. You've probably noticed, hopefully you've noticed that in my videos that sound is really important to me. Whether it's the water lapping on a beach, or the wind rustling through the trees, or me just walking, all those sounds are just so important, and they make the video really. And I have always used Sennheiser microphones, and when they reached out to me and said, do you want to sponsor a video, then I jumped at the chance. And they've actually got a new microphone out at the moment, which is a fantastic microphone if you just want to improve your sound quality. So if you just want to go from just using your camera sound quality, which can get interfered with by the wind and just never sounds as good, to something just a little bit more professional. This is the MKE 400, and I've got to say I used it all the time in my last video. I used it in Iceland a huge amount, and it made a really big difference. So I'm vlogging this for the windiest spot I can find in Iceland, on top of a peninsula by the sea, and as you can see, it's windy. I've got the MKE 400 on top of my Z6 too, and although there's a little bit of wind noise, nothing's going to stop this. Compared with what it's like without it, which is like this. This is with I also use this lapel microphone quite a lot. You see me walking around and I use that lapel microphone. And I've also got Sennheiser microphones for my studio as well when I do voiceovers. So go and take a look at the MKE 400, and thanks to Sennheiser for sponsoring this week's video. I love this time of evening when the sun's just sort of dropping down and it's a blue sky like this, because you get a lot of really beautiful reflected light that's really nice and warm. And you can see that here on the bark of this tree. Anyway, I found a really nice but intimate composition here, and I'm not sure whether I'll even mark this, to be honest, because it's not like an engineered sort of composition that I've put together. It's more like I saw this tree, it looked good. I really like the tree coming out to your left, and these trees here, and there's some nice background trees. The thing I've got to really worry about is these ferns are moving around so much. So I've upped the ISO to ISO 400, and but all I'm bothered about is getting the ferns and the tree sharp. The background can drop out of focus a little bit. This is good. I didn't think I was going to get any good shots tonight, but I enjoy woodland photography. It's my favourite type of photography. I just love it for relaxation. It just relaxes me so much. Everyone else probably says it stresses them because they can't find anything. But I can't find anything, then something just pops. Right. I better get this shot before the sun completely goes, because I'm not taking it yet. And this, everybody, is why you always need to look behind you, because look at the scene I'm studying at the moment. I completely missed this. I was walking back to my car. I just thought, I'll just see what's behind me. And I turned up on this amazing scene. I love the graduation of lightness to darkness across the scene. It looks really, really good. So I've taken a shot of this, and that definitely will be my final shot and my final tip. Look behind you. Wow, that worked.